Did you know that every time a person dies, someone's shadow rises from the underworld to claim the soul? That shadow is not death. It is Hades. Who is Hades? Hades is the ancient Greek god of the underworld, brother of Zeus and Poseidon. But unlike them, he didn't rule the sky or the sea. He reigns over silence, eternity, and the boundary between life and death. How did he become the god of the dead? When Zeus defeated the Titans, the world was divided. Zeus received the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld. But it wasn't a gift. It was exile. Everything cast away from the light was given to him. He never asked for power, but he accepted it and became the one who never forgets the dead. The realm of Hades is not hell. It is not a place of torment or fire. It is an eternal hall of shadow, where time does not exist. It is reached by the river Styx. Its waters make you forget life. Across it ferries Charon. There, souls are judged, and only a few enter the Elysian fields or fall into Tartarus. And Hades, he watches over all, but he does not rule alone. Persephone, his wife, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest. They say he kidnapped her, enticed her with flowers, split the earth, and pulled her into the depths. She became queen of the dead, but a part of her soul remained above. Each spring, she returns, and with her the world blooms. But in autumn, she descends once again into darkness, and the world falls still. Hades wears a helmet of invisibility, gifted by the Cyclopes. He does not seek glory. He demands no temples. He always acts from the shadows. Even the gods fear him. His name was rarely spoken, lest it draw his attention. The Greeks believed that dreams were shadows slipping out of the underworld. Through them, Hades watches, chooses, tests. A dream of the dead is not just memory. It's an invitation, sometimes a warning. Some legends say that if a person sees the same dead figure 5 nights in a row, Charon is already preparing the boat. In archaic rituals, mirrors were always removed from the home of the deceased. Why? Because myth said that part of the soul could get trapped in the reflection. Hades does not take just the body. He demands the entire essence. If something remains, it wanders. In some regions, people believed that if you left a mirror by a dying person's bed, at dawn you might see them leaving. Moments when Hades appears, he usually does not leave his realm. But there are exceptions. When a soul refuses to go, they say Hades once appeared as a man in a black cloak and took an old priestess who tried to outlive her fate using magic. When the world forgets the dead. In myths, if a village stopped performing memorial rites, a man without a shadow would appear at its edge. He said nothing, but wherever he looked, fire would die. When the gate of Erebus opens, this is the darkest part of the underworld. Not even all souls are allowed in. They say if it opens, Hades rises to close it himself. Do you know why people feared to say his name? Because his true name means, he who knows all that has been forgotten. And if he hears you calling him, he comes to find out why you remember. Hades wears no crown. He builds no palaces. His throne is made of bones and shadows. He rules not because he must, but because no one can dethrone him. Not because he is feared, but because sooner or later everyone comes to him. Can one descend into Hades' realm and return? In myths, a few dared to step beyond the gates of death while still alive, but none returned unchanged. Let me tell you the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus, a great musician, whose music moved even stone. When his beloved Eurydice died, he descended into the land of the dead. He crossed the Styx, passed through the fields of shadow, and stood before Hades and Persephone. He did not beg, he sang. And for the first time, Hades agreed, but with one condition: do not look back until she leaves the underworld. And Orpheus looked back. Eurydice vanished forever, and behind him Orpheus heard a whisper: you wish to know eternity. Now you carry it. Heroes and madmen, Heracles descended to steal Cerberus. Hades allowed it, but said, you will leave, but a part of you will stay here forever. Theseus and Pirithous tried to steal Persephone. Hades lured them to the stone of Lethe, and they forgot who they were. Their bodies remained, seated in eternal silence. The hidden temples of Hades. In Greece, there was the Necromantian, the sanctuary of the dead. People didn't go there to pray. They went to speak with the dead. They brought food, blood, tears. One chamber had walls etched with messages. I heard my father's voice. He did not forgive. Her eyes were empty. She's no longer my daughter. The priests of the Necromantian did not call themselves priests. They were translators between worlds. And every one of them died without a tongue. A myth rarely told. In one forgotten source, a translation found in 1911 in Aetolia, it is said that Hades once fell in love with a girl who had an illness that made her transparent. He came to her in dreams, showed her his world. He did not call, he waited. But when she died, her soul never came. She vanished. Hades went mad. He searched for her in every shadow, in every dream. And since then, once every 100 years, he rises to search for her again. Why were coins placed on the eyes of the dead? It was believed they were payment for Charon, the ferryman across the Styx. But there's another idea. They were not payment but a seal, so the eyes would not open again. Because sometimes souls want to return, and the coins are the final barrier. If they are missing, the door remains ajar. Why does Hades love silence? Because in silence you hear the most. When you stop speaking, you hear the voices of the departed, the breath of shadows, your true self. Hades is not the enemy. He is the reflection of what you tried to forget. And what if you've already met him? They say everyone meets Hades twice. When they lose someone, when they lose part of themselves, he doesn't take right away. He gives time to say goodbye. And then he takes not the soul but the memory. Modern stories about Hades. In Greece, they still leave black stones at the doors of the dead. Not flowers, stones. Because flowers wither, but stones remember. Some claim that if you whisper the name of the deceased in an empty room, and hear no echo, Hades is already near. In the end, Hades is not death. He is the memory of it. He is not evil. He does not seek revenge. He guards everything we are afraid to remember. And if you hear a voice in your dream, if you see a face you long forgot, if a silhouette flickers in the mirror, and it's not yours, maybe he didn't come for you. Maybe he came to remind you you're still alive. Write in the comments. Would you follow her into the underworld? Or would you look back?